Thanks for tuning in to the Today's Writer Show with your hosts, Amanda and William.
We'll always bring you the most up-to-date news and stories without all the hooey.
This new culture is the bee's knees. Well, at least for these balled-up whoopie birds. As for the real McCoys, it's all baloney to us.
The cat's meow was loud and clear today.
Sure is, Amanda. These days, happiness is hard to come by, given we just ended World War I.
That is true. We have just received news that the Ernest Hemingway had just arrived at the airport to meet a fella of the name of Scott Fitzgerald and traveled to Paris.
By the sound of things, they're embracing this new way of life and expressing it in their newly published writings.
Indeed. And as a result, they are completely resenting all the traditional values and morals, creating new ones.
This is just a bunch of hogwash to me.
Hold on, we have incoming news.
Oh, okay. What was that? Oh, okay.
We have just received breaking news.
Yes, indeed. This breaking news is from our on-site reporter that Fitzgerald has just made a statement saying, and I quote, "Ernest and I are going to be the writers and voices of this generation, respectively."
Fitzgerald and Hemingway just love to inspire and influence other Americans and other people around the world.
I don't know about you, Amanda, but all I heard was a couple of big cheese bimbos filling some bushwa.
I couldn't agree more. Up next, who wrote the one book every aspiring flapper needs to have and why it was written, right after the break.
Are you sad, lonely, depressed? Are you tired of the old way of life that everyone else has lived for hundreds of years? Well, this new and improved way of life called flapping is just what you need. And the book that you need to go with it is right down at your local bookstore. Go down there and pick up The Great Gatsby today by Fitzgerald. That'd be Scott Fitzgerald to you. Go down there and pick one up today.
We're back with the news on the new book written by the Big Cheese, Ernest Hemingway, called The Sun Also Rises.
Yes, this is the cat's meow nowadays, especially with that quote by Miss Stein. What was it again?
Oh yes, Gertrude Stein has influenced many writers. Her famous quote is, "We are all lost generation."
Yes, Stein has definitely moved us all with that quote. Very true, ain't it? On to our interview with Kirk Kermit.
Both Hemingway and Fitzgerald were considered modern writers. How do they differ in their interpretation of modernism?
Hemingway searched more consciously for rituals and patterns that would provide stable forms to survive the upheaval of modernity. Fitzgerald didn't really have an interest in preserving the past. He needed to lose it. Hemingway was also much more preoccupied with the artistic experimentation that modernism encouraged, at least initially. Fitzgerald wanted to be a popular writer, and that meant he had to shape his work to fit the marketplace. Eventually, Hemingway was happy to do that as well, but at least in the period he was doing, in our time, he saw himself as an outsider. That difference led to some pretty interesting distinctions in literary behavior. In the 20s, for example, Fitzgerald had no qualms about writing essays for popular magazines with titles like What I Think and Feel at 25. To Hemingway, that would have been ludicrous. Thanks again for tuning in to another segment of Today's Writer Show with your hosts, Amanda and William.
Catch you next time and stay tuned for the Amos and Andy show.